Today I'm speaking with Mr. Gleb Fishchenko. He's a security analyst and head of the Institute for European Security Studies in Kyiv. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
We're looking to dissect the developments of the last week and Monday, the Trump-Putin summit in Alaska, as well as the meeting of the European leaders with President Donald Trump on Monday. And my first question for you is, how are these developments seen from Ukraine? And I'm especially talking about the Alaska summit because I'm thinking maybe it could be interpreted as a betrayal. Right now, it comes to my mind that Vladimir Putin, a perpetrator of war crimes, was received with the red carpet and applause by the American president. So this is the question. How is it seen from Ukraine, this entire thing?
Actually, I cannot say that it is betrayal. It's more like usually like regular Ukrainians are face palming, let me say, because I'm analyzing the social media and what like regular Ukrainians are like texting or messaging in social media. But of course, it was hurtful for Ukrainians, unfortunately, to see the red carpet and the person who is the war criminal going but like using this red carpet to come to American President Donald Trump. It was hurtful because even for those people who are living in Kyiv Oblast, Donetsk Oblast, Zaporizhia, and Kherson that have been deoccupied, so they have seen those war crimes that have been unfortunately made by Russian soldiers on those territories. But as I spoken to some people just on the streets and on the meetings, I asked them a question like, what do you actually think about this meeting in Alaska? And do you believe that this will help us to have this sustained and long-lasting peace? And I unfortunately have any person that really do believe that Alaska, also called Putin-Trump talks, could bring that peace on the table. Unfortunately, uh, Ukrainians are we're such a nation that we don't really like when somebody or something like circumstances is going to decide the future of the country. That's why we implemented this so not so called but the principle like no words about Ukraine without Ukraine. Even before Zelensky, it was implemented by Poroshenko. So yeah, it is hurtful, but we need to understand also that every war will end with a peace talks and negotiation process. Because I don't want to our to people who gonna watch this to understand it incorrectly that Ukrainians, for example, don't want peace. No, of course we want, but long-lasting peace with the security guarantees. Because as many journalists and as many political analysts are saying still that. Uh, we have been not forced but pursued to give Crimea in 2014. Now we understand that it was a platform for the new occupation. So we are afraid if we're going to, for example, give the Donetsk Oblast to Putin, which is really well made in a defense way. Yeah, it's like the road of this fortresses is going to be given by to Putin. I think that it's going to be used as a new platform for the next occupation in 2 or maybe 3 years maximum.
How did you read the room in Alaska? It seemed for a while that Donald Trump was maybe a little bit annoyed with Vladimir Putin, while Vladimir Putin was all smiles and was very satisfied by what happened there. I'm asking, did you feel like Donald Trump was annoyed by what happened there, by what happened in the chamber?
To answer this question, actually, we need to understand who is Donald Trump. He is a deal maker. He is a businessman. Absolutely. Maybe good, maybe not. I'm not a business analyst, so I cannot say. And secondly, we need to understand who is Putin. The former KGB agent, maybe former KGB agent, but still the Tsar of Russia, well connected to reconnaissance services of Russia, the controller of these such reconnaissance services. And when the businessman who rose up in capitalism is meeting a KGB agent, of course, the businessman will be annoyed. Because it's okay to say, but unfortunately, again, Russia School of Reconnaissance and Russia Intelligence Services are really good, and the School of Intelligence Services is really professional. Plus, they have got really big amount of money, so they're well funded because they understand that this is one of the pillar, one of the most significant thing is that make Russia sustainable. I mean, like which keeps Russia in that borderlines that Russia is now. So Putin is absolutely manipulative, and he's a liar. Absolutely, because we can see it by just not mentioning any international or humanitarian law by the politics he is making. Yes, of course, Trump was annoyed, but he played a role really good after the talks. I mean, he was smiling. It was like even the photos were the same as the photos between when the negotiations, the meetings have happened between the Soviet Union Tsar or Emperor, whatever, and United States presidents 50, 60 years ago. So what Trump literally did is he legalized Putin in a Western part of civilization, in the Western world. So he just made the process of legalization war criminal now. Putin, let me say Putin. So now Putin is legalized. He came on a plane, used this red carpet, and now, unfortunately, again, um, it was this. If we're going to speak about this meeting as a battle, this battle have been won by Putin, not by Trump, um, as well as propagandists of Russia, as such as Solovyov or Mrs. Skabeyeva. Um, they made a parade of honor because of this meeting, before and after this meeting, actually, because they were talking like, okay, two superpowers presidents are meeting. Now the world gonna be divided. Trump is our guy, and then on the black side of this propaganda, in Telegram channels, the information was spreaded in a way like Alaska is still Russian. It's a Russian land. There is a Russian church in Alaska. So they're using this white propaganda, let me say, and black or dark propaganda. So unfortunately, again, because even we as an institute have been analyzing videos of interviews of just regular Russians, and they were really happy that Trump and Putin are meeting. Additionally, they were saying things like, it's a citation, but Trump sold all Alaska. Alaska is Russian already. Russia will be on Alaska. It's our historical land. Those Russians have said. I mean, it's really actually ridiculous for me because 25 years at least, Russia used anti-USA propaganda to have like only 1 month in 2025 the propaganda of peace talks that is managed by Putin and Trump, and the world going to be divided. Also, however, um, what have happened after Alaska talks? Literally nothing. Did the front lines stop? Did the killings stop? No. like people are still dying. Yes. Only one good thing that actually not happened. It's strikes by rockets and shaheeds. Kiev. Sometimes we have got air raid. It's okay. It's like in prevention to prevent something, to just inform people that some type of rocket could fly, could be. But I have never seen any massive strikes for 2, maybe 3 weeks already. Then on the timeline, what have happened next? The Zelensky and Trump meeting, and Zelensky had a so also really used by propagandists in Europe actually, that Zelensky would not wear a suit because he don't like this, teacher Trump that told him to wear a suit. But this suit was of course black, and it was militarized. So what we can analyze after the meeting of the European leaders and Zelensky with Trump? Uh, the reaction of Meloni was significant. Absolutely, how she was listening to Trump like this, and she wanted to avoid this information, but uh, unfortunately, it could be seen that Trump was as a teacher and other leaders were standing or standing and sitting. Marco Rubio have been standing actually, and just hearing and learning from Trump what he's saying. It was a lesson rather than a talks. Uh, we haven't got the files. We haven't got the open source uh, stenogram of the meeting yet. So it is unpredictable what they have discussed, and it's we could not analyze it yet. But I think after this in media, we saw some pieces of the puzzle that, for example, not all Donetsk Oblast will be given to Russia, or maybe no Donetsk Oblast will be given to Russia. So now it's about to play. I will say like to play Baba Vanga, to be an a person with a superpower and try to analyze what will be. But I think we need to give this talk some time, because now we know a position of Russian Federation. I mean, Trump knows. Again, Trump knows the position of Ukraine and the European leaders. But what we can say, that the new security guarantees would be rather the part of European international strategy than the United States uh, international policy. So it's more on the shoulders of Europe nowadays, because Trump don't want to spend money on this stupid war made by Biden, as Trump usually say. He's always using this linguistic structure. Yes, it is stupid war started by Biden, not by Putin. Yes, which is really funny for me, because actually Biden helped us to defend our country and gave as much as he could, of course, to defend, but not to counterattack.
Why do you think the European leaders decided to join President Zelensky in Washington in such a large number? It's rather unusual that so many leaders joined. So do you think they were looking to avoid a fiasco similar to the one in February when Trump and Vance berated the Ukrainian president publicly?
Nope. I think that Trump. To answer this question again, we need to understand how this talks with Ursula von der Leyen. Do you remember how European media just exploded after the meeting of Ursula von der Leyen and President Donald Trump? A lot of journalists have said, and a lot of news have been written about that Ursula von der Leyen failed the talks. It's absolutely not true, but the narrative among European media was that Ursula von der Leyen lose it. Issue of this is that Trump is not seeing, he is not seeing one country in Europe as a subject. So for example, only Italy, it's nothing. Yeah, so the like joint Europe, like united Europe. He only see Europe in when it's united. So then Europe have got some weight on the negotiation table. Of course, so he met only Friedrich Merz, Ursula von der Leyen, as far as I remember, and I don't remember about Macron. Have Macron been to United States of America?
I don't think he was, but I think Keir Starmer was.
Yeah, so that's why European leaders, this I think, it's my honest, like mine opinion, they decided to come together to firstly show that the unity, secondly to have more weight and arguments or cards, as Donald Trump will say, to show Mr. President of United States of America that European Union still have got this unification, so it's united and it's something, not just countries and not just Europe in a geographical term of the continent.
Let's talk a bit about scenarios. What do you think will be the outcome of any peace negotiation with Russia? Do you think it's possible for Ukraine to secure the recovery of her occupied territories? Would any Ukrainian government actually be willing to accept territorial concessions? Because that seems like a stretch. And what would be the cost politically if any Ukrainian government did that?
If this situation can be described, if we're going to play chess, it's called Zugzwang. So the every next move just make the situation worse. Actually, Russia and Ukraine, and actually this conflict, because it's begging my pardon for my English, it's stupid conflict. Just one big country want to deliberate another country, peaceful country. So that's why I'm speaking that this conflict is stupid. So we have got an enemy, which is Russia, their institutions, their propaganda, Putin, and Russian soldiers. The most, the worst part of it is that they are irrational. And because of the irrationality of Russians, it's really hard to predict. Why I'm speaking about irrationality? Do you remember Ohmad, the hospital in Ukraine where the cancer children have been? Why? Like, like, it's absolutely just like, why do you push the button to send a rocket to the children's hospital? It's absolutely ridiculous. The same, for example, when Rutte came to Kiev today, in the minute he shake the hand with Zelensky, Kramatorsk, for example, have been under combined attack with Shaheeds, glide bombs, and ballistic missiles from Rostov Oblast. Why Kramatorsk when they shaking hands with Mark Rutte? I mean, because before 2024, they really like the dates. For example, 10 of October 2022, first Shahed attack. Then 9 of September or 9 of May or Independence Day of Ukraine or 2001, 2025. Yeah, like they really like the dates when they are bombing Ukraine. It's civilian, of course. If I speak in Ukraine, yeah, they are usually bombing civilians. Unfortunately, that's this irrationality I'm speaking about. But still, now we need to understand that the only way to stop Russia like not just freeze the conflict, but really stop Russia, is to put the economical sanctions and heighten the pressure, like make more pressure on Russia, because they would not have money. No money, no rockets. No rockets, no shaheeds, and so on. Yep. No, for example, no money, no payment for the soldiers. Why soldiers should be in another country? Logically, yeah, because the main motivation of the soldiers that are joining the Russian army is money. Unfortunately, again, but it is money. It's not to protect the Russian values of the Russian world. It's really to raise money, because mobilization in Russia is taking place in such regions that I could not say that are really economically successful. It's far, far east, near China, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and so on. Again, let us return to the scenarios. Actually, there are three: good scenario, like middle scenario, and bad scenario. What is the bad scenario? We are signing the peace that not going to last long, and giving Putin Donetsk Oblast, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Then we are making Russian language the state official second language, and canceling the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, new one, and stop pushing the Russian Church in Ukraine. And not going to have any sanctions on this church. Actually, church is really interesting point, because it's absolutely okay to go to Russian church in Ukraine, but it's not absolutely okay to go to Russian church where the monk or the or the metropolitan is KGB agent. That's why the churches are closing, because usually security services of Ukraine are opening when they find something that this exact person is connected to Russia or to Russian KGB, FSB. No more. Of course, the church would be like closed, because the main person of the church will be displaced. Yeah. So actually, it's another disinformation that we are against Orthodox Church, and like that we have got problems with Russian Church, and Russia is really good, really good using this information in the United States, for example. That's why Trump and people who are really close to Trump talking that we have got problems with the church, and we we're not letting people to go to the church, and blah blah blah. But so this aspect of the church, and in 2 years Putin will say that he wants Kiev, that he wants maybe Odessa, and Romania will have got new neighbor, Russia. Of course, he will use Pridnestrovia. Of course, he will use Moldova. He will manipulate new elections, and it's going to be another Platzdam to quickly occupy Odessa region. If we're speaking about Odessa, and then Dniester, Dunai is going to be under control of Russia. It's a bad scenario. Middle scenario. War conflict is just stopping and freezing on the line, on the front line. But we would not ever participate in any meetings or conference where the four alphabets will be NATO, NATO. So no NATO at all, never. I mean, for million of years, because it is one of the points of Putin is to because NATO expansion, so-called NATO expansion. So Putin is, of course, going to be shown as a great general, as the victor, as a guy who win this war and stop NATO to expand. And in 3 years, we are going to have another conflict when Putin will say that he wants Kharkiv, Kiev, Sumy. So the not parts of Ukraine, because like Odessa will be more in this way. Odessa will be more secured because they will be far, and Dnieper River is a really good geographical barrier for Russians. That's why they blown up the Kakhovka Dam, because of the mm, counteroffensive operation that Ukraine could done, but unfortunately not. And the good scenario is Europe started to rearm and actually started to arm uh, people from such countries as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovakia, uh, Czech Republic, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria started to understand that Russia is a threat, and it can come really quick to their homes and started to rape people. Polish people unfortunately did not understand it still after the drone that exploded near Warsaw, on 40 kilometers near Warsaw, in a few days ago. Um, and the economical sanctions will be the two packages of sanctions will be implemented on Russia, and uh, the sanctions on specific politics will be implemented. Uh, of course, the control of how much the barrel of oil will cost until they will stop the war, and then Russia will have got economical problems, and maybe people, because of lack of money, started to just beg the Tsar to not continue the war. Uh, Additionally, in every this three scenario, what will happen for sure is missing of 1 million of Russian men. They are disabled or killed. So for Russian economy, it is something it is a disease, chronic disease for now, that can hardly be cured. In 10 years, maybe 50, we can actually analyze it as a Rwanda after the genocide. They still have good problem with the man population. Of course, Russia would not have problem with the man population, but the population that could work. So the so-called population that could make the economical prosperity. Uh, because of this, still Russia will have got economical problems. But again, speaking about irrationality of Russians, Putin can become absolutely mad tomorrow, for example, and use Oreshnik rockets with nuclear uh, base inside, yeah, and just start to use the tactical and use the tactical nuclear rockets. I mean, nuclear weapon. Uh, so I don't know. It's really hard to predict because I haven't got a superpower. I can analyze, but not to predict.
There has been a lot of talk of security guarantees lately, and Trump, for example, has said that initially that he's fine with having U.S. troops maintaining peace on Ukrainian soil. Then he changed his mind. Lately, we've heard from Rubio and from Trump himself that there will be air support missions, potentially. On the other hand, Europeans continue to seem very involved and looking to create a strong deterrence for future aggression in Russia. What do you think the security guarantees will look like, actually, seeing these two very different opinions?
I'm more interested not in how the guarantees would look, but how the sanctions of not implementing such a guarantees would look. I don't want another, really, as a Ukrainian, not as an analyst, I don't want another Budapest memorandum.
Clearly.
Because Budapest memorandum is a piece of just paper, and it's nothing. Then I don't want to Russia to be in these security guarantees. How the country that is an aggressor could be in the security guarantees of a victim? It's again ridiculous, but could happen. But yeah, for me, the mechanism of not doing these guarantees is more important. Like, what sanctions or what will be if, for example, France would not help us in another war? We haven't got the mechanism. Actually, world haven't got the mechanism. Or UN is dying. International law died after 24th of February, unfortunately. And it's now only the only thing that Europe can make and become again the leader of the civilization is to reanimate the international law from a coma. Yeah.
Do you feel like there is no way any security guarantee can have any bite? That's what you're saying, that you don't think anything will be effectual in stopping Russia from starting another aggression against Ukraine?
I am talking about that. Okay, even the security guarantees will be, what is the mechanism of not not doing these guarantees? I mean, not helping. This is really the most important thing, because we can sign the deal, we can sign the guarantees, we can sign the peace, but for every action of not for non-action means sanction, judicatively speaking. I mean, so again, it's a really open, discussable question. What would be if Europe would not manage to help us in another war? Until this mechanism is not invented, I don't actually believe in security guarantees. I do believe in Ukrainian army. I do believe in Miltech and IT technologies of Ukraine that are implemented in Miltech. I do believe in the guys who are veterans and they are experienced as much as they can be experienced soldiers. In those security guarantees, I believe, because uh, it's our army. Yep. Plus, I believe in diplomacy, and I believe in uh, I do believe in the institutions of European Union and NATO, of so-called Western world, because I want Putin to be in jail because of the because he's a war criminal, because of the kidnapped children, at least 20,000. So again, the question is, the next question after the security guarantee is, why Russia should stop? Like, why Russia should stop? Who will be the belt of Russia? Who will be this colossus that will just stop Russia? Where is the Chinese wall that will stop Russians? Why should Russia stop? And additionally, what world will do if Russia would not stop? And isn't it a signal for other autocracies to, for example, mm, fire up the conflict between Korea, North Korea, and South Korea, maybe to occupy Taiwan, maybe to decide where Kashmir should be? So, for me, bad security guarantees for Ukraine now is a great signal for autocracies that is literally speaking, you can do whatever you want because it's going to be no sanctions on you, and you're not going to be punished. So you're welcome. Do this. What I'm really afraid of, because we are in first, for sure, in first world informational war, but I don't want this first world informational war to become third world war.
You've spoken before about sanctions, about economic sanctions, and you think they are a better mechanism. do you think that, for example, those economic sanctions that Donald Trump threatened Russia with, the secondary tariffs, so-called secondary tariffs against India or China or other places, do you think they would have had a bite? They would have functioned against Russia?
For sure against India, for sure. Because India is openly kind of pro-Russian, as well as Brazil. BRICS, of course. Um, China, no. Trump is losing the war with China, unfortunately. I mean, China started to be more economically stable and independent, and China understands mm, the importance of so-called MENA region, or the global South region, because population in global South is significantly rising up. The numbers are rising up, so there is more consumers. Why should China sell to the economical enemy their goods if China could do this to like to the global South? And global South will bring a lot of money to China. This could be a bite, but I don't think it's going to be like the main game changer. The second tariffs, straight tariffs on Russia, the oil, yes, and gas, of course, but not the game changer. What have been a game changer is to destroy Nord Stream 2, and now the destruction of Druzhba. It could change it. And of course, we are not bombing Russian energetic facilities and oil refinery facilities only because we are accepting that this war should stop. And we're showing that, okay, we're not bombing your energy facilities, I mean, your oil refineries. Please don't bomb our civilians. It's clearly like, but still, they're continuing. They're
Um,
continuing.
you've spoken before about what if Russia doesn't stop, and it's true that it's possible that it won't stop. Um, I read an article a few days ago that said that there are two countries in the world that could be an actual security guarantee against Russia, and those are the United States, of course, and China. And China, of course, that has no actual interest in stopping this war, but the United States should have. And beyond this weird dynamic and relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, the real interests of the American state are to stop this war and to protect Ukraine and make Ukraine stronger against Russia. So my question is, do you think that if for some reason Donald Trump decides to actually make a peacekeeping force in Ukraine made up of American soldiers, the American army, do you think that would count as actual real security guarantees against future Russian aggression?
To probably answer this question, I think we should keep an eye on Armenia and Azerbaijan now. It's an only deal that have been signed with the help of Trump in the region near Russia. So if it's going to work, maybe the security guarantees for Ukraine is going to work, as well as we need to understand how the Israeli-Gaza conflict will end. Why? Because we are now living in a world that is building a new security architecture and a new architecture of the international law. So by following this three, actually, so Azerbaijan, Armenia, Gaza, Israel, and Ukraine, Russia, conflicts, we will understand how the world will look like in 20 years, 40-50. China could betray Russia in every minute. Because China is thinking about their own interest, economical interest, and expansion of power, so-called communism with the
Human face.
as was is the Czechoslovakia communism with a human face. This is the point of China. And China is really interested to have the divided world because, of course, Europe will buy drones from Ukraine or from the United States or from their own producers, but those who are against the civilized West would buy drones from China, which means money, a lot of money. Because we know that SOC 400 is not working as like anti-air defense. We can see this in actually in Iran, that Russians defense, the old Soviet ones are not working good. So yeah, and Russia and China is really just Google some videos about China drones. What they are making is absolutely horrifying. They know how to use the drone. When the bees are flying, it's like when the bee, like a lot amount of drones are flying together and aiming the targets. We usually using the AI. They are really good at it.
Swarm the drones.
Swarm of drones. Like China's swarm of drones is something that I'm really afraid of. And this is going to be implemented soon, for sure. They show video of the big plane, which is using the drone-like rockets to hit the targets on the ground. I mean, they're doing good. So China is not interested in united world. No consumers after. So yeah, but USA. Uh, USA. If we're speaking about Congress is interested in security. Did Donald Trump? Maybe yes, but he is more interested in how the memoirs would be written after. That he is a peacemaker, that he is the deal maker, and he believes in God. And he wanted to go to heaven, as in the last news have the information appeared. So he's doing everything to become the holy saint, the peacemaker, peace dealer. I don't know. It's more about public diplomacy than in sustainable and long-lasting peace. It's more about advertisement of the person. But not about the actual security guarantees. Who could be the security guarantor? British could be, France could be, Germany, Turkey maybe.
So you're having troops of these countries on Ukrainian territory acting?
No. I mean the signers, those who signed,
Okay.
who will sign up the guarantees. I'm not speaking about the troops because it's actually a question mark for me. Will like imagine the situation. Today we signed the peace agreement. For example, tomorrow troops of European Union countries should come to Ukraine. How much money do you think Russia will spend for a disinformation campaign to frighten up mothers of those soldiers So they will do everything just to, lay on the ground to not let their children go to Ukraine. Like, it is. So it's a question mark for me, like how it's going to be and who will be on the Ukrainian soil if we're speaking about those troops. So we will see. But I do believe that the troops could come here. But actually, I don't understand the mechanism again. Like, it's going to be rotations of those troops. They are going to be near the border only or inside the country. They are going to come with their own weapon, or Ukraine should give them weapon. Even such specific, like small questions could absolutely change the mechanism of this deal. Because actually, weapons are money. So who need to spend money on the weapons? Ukraine. After all of this economical problems that we are facing with the full scale invasion, we have no money for this to to arm other, for example, 150,000 men. So those questions should be put on the table, and the big discussions need to be happen. We need a discussion about it because, like, and think tanks should give their analytics also to this because we are building the new architecture, the future of this world, and I want this world to be a safer place than it was before full scale. Because before the full scale war, actually during the COVID times, as we can now say, the world haven't been a secured place because Putin starts the war. So I don't want again a new war to start because next aim will be Lithuania and Latvia. Of course, Baltic states. Putin needs a corridor to Suwalki. Putin needs the corridor to Kaliningrad. And in that case, I don't believe that Trump will implement the Article 5 of NATO to protect the Baltic states. Because who is going to protect half of the half of the state of New York? I mean, that's how the Trump thinking. That's why we need the new architecture, so-called intermarium, like Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Slovak Republic, Czech Republic, Hungary under the question of Hungary without Orban. I mean, Poland, Lithuania, Litva, like Latvia, Estonia. I mean, and maybe some northern neighbors like Sweden, Norway, and it's not going to be NATO. This will be the Chinese wall for Russia because the Russians are not as stupid as we're thinking about them. They would not do another mistake to attack the countries and the union alliance. I mean, it's good, like a new confederation against Russia, and they would not attack this confederation because it is absolutely, it's going to be ridiculous. I haven't answered your question about giving back the territories for Russia, as they say, give us back our territories. I don't think that Zelensky will sign this because it's going to create. He's going to be a political dead. Politically, he will be dead. The problem is that that's a Zugzwang I'm speaking about. The problem is any politician that will sign this will be dead as a politician because it's a betrayal for the Ukrainian nation. I mean, that's why this conflict is so hard to solve. Uh, I don't. Okay, maybe some pro-Russian politics in Ukraine could sign this because they don't care. But really, like Ukrainian elected by Ukrainians, no. No, it's like to shoot in your leg while you're running a marathon. It's ridiculous. And in a way of analyzing the security of Ukraine, it's literally stupid. I mean, Donetsk Oblast. It's going to be a new Bloodstorm for a next attack, and Russians will be closer for the to the border of NATO. So maybe some ballistic missiles could hit Uzhhorod or Mukachevo, as yesterday, for example, or day before yesterday. 35 kilometers to NATO. I'm not speaking about the drones that are crossing all the time the Polish border and unfortunately Romania border.
You said something very interesting before regarding the Kaliningrad Oblast and how the Russians are looking to bridge that corridor, and that reminds me very much of the same crisis that actually triggered the Second World War, because back then it was Germany who wanted to bridge East Prussia with its territory. And you said that you don't believe that the Article 5 of NATO will work, and that you don't think the United States will jump to protect the Baltic states. So you're thinking more like, let's create a new alliance of Eastern European nations. You're thinking about banding together to stop Russia?
Yes. And it could be alliance in alliance. For example, it's
so
okay to
NATO.
not implement.
So keeping NATO.
Yes. I mean, if Russia is attacking those countries in alliance called Alliance A, then NATO would not implement Article 5, and everyone is okay, because those countries, like the border of the big European wall against Russians, are going to work like it's quickly, and we know Russians better than, for example, people from Lisbon. But again, speaking about Lisbon, do you know how to deliver a body of a NATO soldier from Lithuania if Lithuania will be attacked? Do you have a protocols of deliverance of the body? No. This shows for me the readiness of NATO. NATO is not ready. Just not ready. We understand, maybe some helicopter will come and take the dead corpse and come to Lisbon again. No, it's gonna be shoot. Russians don't, we cannot evacuate our own soldiers' body for more than 3 months sometimes. So, and that's why this tricky things about what I'm speaking about, these tricky things that could change the mechanism at all. Now, for example, I have no answer for this question. Actually, this question was asked by Taras Chmut, the CEO of Come Back Alive Foundation, the biggest foundation that is helping a Ukrainian army with drones or other things. He asked this very simple question, and I stuck no, they haven't got this protocol. The same. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, Baltic states are geographically in a bad position. They are surrounded by Russia. Sorry.
I would like to move on to the final question of this review, and I wanted to talk about the hybrid war, because it's been, even in Romania lately, it has been a very big subject. In the last few weeks, I talked with a number of experts, including from Ukraine and the Republic of Moldova, about the way Russia is perpetrating this brutal hybrid war. In Romania, for example, social media, and especially TikTok, has been flooded with Russian propaganda, with fake AI videos of Vladimir Putin speaking in Romanian, telling people to go out in the street and protest against the government, promising Romania's territories from Ukraine, and so on and so forth. what do you think should be done by policymakers, maybe even by regular people who see this stuff on social media to mitigate or to stop this assault?
Turn on the critical thinking first. So, critical thinking, firstly, of course, critical thinking for sure, and additionally, fact checking. I know it's really hard when you are speaking about TikTok videos that are spreading and so-called older people do believe that Putin can speak Romanian or Slovak or whatever. But it's a duty of every child now, because we made this world to be in this era of social media. So now it's our duty to speak to our parents and to help them not to think in information that are deep fakes, because it's really easy for them to do so, because this is the main audience of propaganda and disinformation, older people who remember how it was during the Soviet Union and how Russian propaganda is working. It is it is a joke in Ukraine now, but it could not be a joke in Europe, for example. People really like the ice cream in Soviet Union, and people are like really they are struggled that they want this ice cream again. This ice cream would never appear, and they really want, because it was their youth time, and people are really melancholic about youth times, not in this ice cream. Why people are shouting and screaming that we want back Soviet Union? They don't want back Soviet Union. They want to be 22 again, for example. It's a simple psychology, and when Russians understood it, they just take this part of the brain of every person that is watching, and starting to process and operate this feeling, to make this feeling worse, to enchant, to make it like full salute. That's how Russian propaganda is working, except of deep fakes, and then, for example, then Zelensky is I don't know, but they're doing a lot of deep fakes about Zelensky. So hybrid war. Why I really believe that war against Europe could happen? Because before every war, like with troops, planes, tanks, the informational war starts. The first step is informational war. And starting from 2014, 2015, Putin started the informational campaign against European Union in European Union, which signalized me that Putin is really interested in making real great war against Europe. He's making the preparation. Preparatio, actio, post actio. Yes, so I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, he's just making the preparations before something bigger. And he done it really good in Crimea, and he done it really good in Luhansk and Donetsk, all so-called republics of Donetsk and Luhansk. There were only 15 up to 20% of people who wanted to join Russia. But how great in of course in a way of analyzing the process it was made, like they it was significantly good. He shows that everyone wants to join Russia.
Thank you very much, Lib. This has been very insightful. It's been great. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.